What's the name of your store and where are you guys located?
Harley-Davidson of Yuba City in Yuba City, California. We're about 45 minutes north of Sacramento.
And you are the general manager at that store?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about TECOBI and what it's done for your dealership. Tell me what you've experienced so far in the first couple months.
So I think one of the main things that I really like about it is, we found ourselves, maybe it's like a Saturday or even a busy Tuesday, right, with our staff, and we're busy with showroom visits. I would notice activities just completely drop on those days. And it might be a great day. We sell 6, 7 bikes. What happens for the next 2, 3 days, we weren't manufacturing appointments and whatnot on Saturday. Let's just call it a Saturday. We weren't manufacturing those appointments for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So our visits on those days would drop some. So now we have something in the background that's consistently communicating with our clients and keeping them engaged. A lot of times scheduling appointments full blown for us, or at worst case, pulling them down in the funnel, pulling the customer down in the funnel to where it serves it up to one of our people to answer a question and get them closer. So I think that that's one of the biggest things that I feel like it's helped us. We could be, busy with our day with a customer that's in front of us and still not have to pick and choose whether or not we handle the person that's on our digital showroom, right, on our website or in our CRM or on our showroom.
And you guys use e-leads at your Harley store, is that correct?
No, it's actually Vin Solutions.
Okay, you're using Vin Solutions right now. So in Vin Solutions and inside of traditional CRM systems, they're very heavily reliant on task and humans having to come complete tasks. Have you noticed that the need for completing those tasks has kind of lifted a little bit? You're able to lean on the AI doing the follow-up more?
Oh, absolutely. You still may do a similar amount of tasks or, maybe not quite as much, but they're more targeted. They're the people that are already engaged. Right. that want to talk to us, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people in there that maybe they're just not ready. They're not going to respond to us, but we're not just blowing out all these tasks on people that are not yet engaged. We're just focusing on the people that needs call, needs text, and stuff of that nature.
While it doesn't make you less busy, it actually kind of makes you more busy. It just makes you busy with the right people instead of just aimlessly chasing because a CRM task told you to call someone. It's more focused on the people who have already responded so that you can keep your staff focused on engaged customers, not chasing engagement through a task inside of a CRM. What would you say your favorite feature of TECOBI is?
I would probably have to say the fact that there's multiple different steps that you can put the client in. And basically at the end of the day, we have a database of people that are all in different steps. Maybe they bought a bike or they are bought elsewhere. Now we're going to follow up with them, not on buying a bike. We're going to focus what we can do for them in our merchandise department or parts department, or maybe we will reach out to them about a service visit with our service specials and stuff of that nature. I really like that there's multiple different steps that you can put them in. It's not just a blanket, hey, how are you? Are you interested in a bike? No, we know that they bought a bike 3 months ago. They're interested in a service now, So I think that that's one of the things that, being only a couple of months into it, I'm sure that we haven't even scratched the surface on it. I think that 6 months or a year or 2 years down the road, it'll continue to grow because we've filled it with all these people that we know where they are in their journey. Right?
Yeah, so the Autobots can be customized per lead status. So you basically follow up with a customer. All you're really doing is you make an Autobot, it's attached to, say, sold new for the lead status, and then you tell the Autobot how you want it to follow up with that lead. And then the follow-up just becomes changing the status on the lead, where the AI will then follow up based on the cadence and what kind of messaging you want to go out based on that lead status. Are there any, instances where the AI did something that kind of amazed you, where you were like, oh my God, look what this did? Is there anything that stands out to you? Any customers you can think of?
I think for the most part, there's not a specific one, but there's multiple that it just has a full-blown conversation. I had one of our salespeople say, by the time I used the restroom and came back, it had a full-blown conversation with the customer. And to be quite honest, sometimes, they'll be like, man, I wish it would give me time to. And I told him, I said, hey, you know what? Keeping the client engaged is really what we want. Would we rather that than the latter? The customer can turn into a ghost because we don't feed it with the proper attention. So I think that was probably the funniest situation, was like the salesperson was almost a little jilted that they didn't have a chance to communicate back.
Yeah, we live in a fast-paced world, and that's the reality of it. And it only takes a couple seconds for a customer to set down their cell phone, and then they're on to something else. Having the AI that can respond instantly and answer questions and send bikes and do the different things that the AI can do really does speed up the communication to keep that customer engaged, because it's all about engaging more customers and keeping more customers engaged. And that's ultimately what drives more sales. What would you say about your onboarding process? I mean, this is a big change in the way you communicate with customers, and it's a little scary for some people who are using a traditional CRM process to let a system like TECOBI in the mix. How would you say the onboarding experience was?
Onboarding was great. You know, one thing that I was blown away by, maybe a week into it, somebody had mentioned to me their personal trainer, right? To be quite honest, it might have flew right over my head when we did the demo, or when I was, meeting with some of the other people on your team. But I was like, what do you mean your personal trainer? He had mentioned that somebody from your team was reaching out and scheduling times to talk with the team and whatnot. And I thought that was like next level, just because very often do you have, vendors, they'll get on a call with you as a manager and they'll go over reports and metrics and stuff like that you can, relay to your team. But the fact that you're hitting the people that are boots on the ground, that are using it daily, that might have frustrations with it, because let's face it, any transition to a new system and whatnot, there's going to be hiccups, right? Or questions even. I thought that it was next level, that not even prompted by us. It was just part of the onboarding. Hey, look, we're onboarding this team. We're going to communicate with their salespeople and make sure that their salespeople are armed with the right information to do what they need to do. I thought that was cool. And it wasn't mentioned to me like, oh, by the way, this is what we're going to do for you. This is just what we do.
Yeah. So I've been a vendor for primarily in the automotive space, but now we've got quite a few Harley stores, but I've been a vendor for a real long time, 24 years now. And I've sold various products that were new and pioneering into different spaces. I've had many times in the past where the dealers would cancel and they'd say, Jason, I love you. I love your haircut. I love your product, but I just can't get my people to use it. So in the beginning of 2024, I made a decision to start doing one-on-one training with every user we can get into training as many times as we need to do it. And we do it in one-on-one because in the groups, when we do group training, the people are nodding out most of the time. It gets boring. They're sitting there, they're drooling, they're falling asleep. And then when you ask, hey, does anyone have any questions? No one wants to stand up and say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, because everyone's embarrassed to stand up and say that. So we found that in the one-on-one training, and I hope my competition doesn't hear this, because this is probably one of the biggest things about our software, honestly, is doing the one-on-one trainings. We can get those questions out of people because, like you said, they're going to get a week into it. They're going to be a little frustrated. Getting them into that training when they're frustrated so they can express their frustrations, and we can say, no, this is actually how you do it, and show them how to properly use it, has been pretty transformational in the results that we're experiencing with our clients and our retention rate and, the success of our clients. And the reason clients get on videos like this and are willing to share their experiences because we go that extra mile. We do that extra bit of training that just a lot of systems out there aren't going to invest in. What would you say to another Harley store out there that's thinking about using TECOBI?
Give it a shot. I feel like it's definitely enhanced us. Like I said, just for the sheer fact of not having to rely on just us, right? Everybody needs a little bit of help, and we'll take every single deal, every single interaction, engagement that we can from a customer. This definitely has helped us propel forward, and just getting the buy-in from the team. That would be the other part of it, making sure that they see the value in it. The other thing that I like about the system is that, like, obviously you guys as a company, it seems like every single week or maybe even like every few days, there's some kind of update. It just shows me that you're like, man, how can I make my system better to where dealers see the value in it? You worked in the dealership. That's what we're always trying to do every single day. So it's good to have a vendor like that, not just to have a system that they can keep together. You know what I mean?
They're just chasing fires all day in most of the other systems where we're able to innovate and start changing and adding. And we're very nimble right now. So we're blessed to be able to be nimble. And it's important that we evolve with artificial intelligence. The whole world is evolving very rapidly.
Right.
And I think it's important that in business we have to evolve and we have to move quickly. Can't just sit around on our hands and keep doing what we were doing for 20 years. Things aren't going to last that long anymore with the rapid evolution that we're going through. So we've got a lot of good stuff coming too.
But yeah, I definitely would recommend using TECOBI.